The artist's life cannot be otherwise than full of conflicts, for two forces are at war within him. On the one hand, the common human longing for happiness, satisfaction, and security in life, and on the other, a ruthless passion for creation which may go so far as to override every personal desire. There are hardly any exceptions to the rule that a person must pay dearly for the divine gift of creative fire. As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. It may even be assumed that just as the unconscious affects us, so the increase in our consciousness affects the unconscious. We are so full of apprehensions, fears, that we don't know exactly to what it points. A great change of our psychological attitude is imminent, that is certain, because we need more understanding of human nature, because the only real danger that exists is man himself, and we know nothing of man. His psyche should be studied, because we are the origin of all coming evil. Our suffering comes from our unlived life, the unseen, unfelt parts of our psyche. That which compels us to create a substitute for ourselves is not the external lack of objects, but our incapacity to lovingly include a thing outside of ourselves. The most intense conflicts, if overcome, leave behind a sense of security and calm that is not easily disturbed. It is just these intense conflicts and their conflagration which are needed to produce valuable and lasting results. To confront a person with his shadow is to show him his own light. Once one has experienced a few times what it is like to stand judgingly between the opposites, one begins to understand what is meant by the self. Anyone who perceives his shadow and his light simultaneously sees himself from two sides, and thus gets in the middle. If you cannot understand why someone did something, look at the consequences and infer the motivation. Everybody acts out a myth, but very few people know what their myth is. And you should know what your myth is, because it might be a tragedy, and maybe you don't want it to be. Much of the evil in this world is due to the fact that man, in general, is hopelessly unconscious. Man becomes whole, integrated, calm, fertile, and happy when, and only when the process of individuation is complete, when the conscious and the unconscious have learned to live at peace and to complement one another. The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown. It is only the things we don't understand that have any meaning. Man woke up in a world he did not understand, and that is why he tries to interpret it. Man, as we realize if we reflect for a moment, never perceives anything fully or comprehends anything completely. My own understanding is the sole treasure I possess, and the greatest. Though infinitely small and fragile in comparison with the powers of darkness, it is still a light, my only light. Every human life contains a potential. If that potential is not fulfilled, that life was wasted. How difficult it is to reach anything approaching a moderate and relatively calm point of view in the midst of one's emotions. Ultimately, everything depends on the quality of the individual, but our fatally short-sighted age thinks only in terms of large numbers and mass organizations. Happiness and contentment, equability of mind, and meaningfulness of life. These can be experienced only by the individual and not by a state, which, on the one hand, is nothing but a convention agreed to by independent individuals, and on the other, continually threatens to paralyze and suppress the individual. I feel it is the duty of one who goes his own way to inform society of what he finds on his voyage of discovery. We should know what our convictions are and stand for them. Upon one's own philosophy, conscious and unconscious, depends one's ultimate interpretation of facts. Therefore, it is wise to be as clear as possible about one's subjective principles. As the man is, so will be his ultimate truth. The stone has no uncertainties, no urge to communicate. What is eternally the same for thousands of years, while I am only a passing phenomenon which bursts into all kinds of emotions, like a flame that flares up quickly and then goes out. The serious problems in life are never fully resolved. If ever they should appear to be so, it is a sure sign that something has been lost. The meaning and purpose of a problem seem to lie not in its solution, but in our working at it incessantly. All the works of man have their origin in creative fantasy. What right have we then to deprecate imagination? It is under all circumstances an advantage to be in full possession of one's personality. Otherwise, the repressed elements will only crop up as a hindrance elsewhere, not just at some unimportant point, but at the very spot where we are most sensitive. If people can be educated to see the shadow side of their nature clearly, it may be hoped that they will also learn to understand and love their fellow man better. A little less hypocrisy and a little more self-knowledge can only have good results in respect of our neighbor, for we are all too prone to transfer to our fellows the injustice and violence we inflict upon our own natures.